We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast. And I'm really trying to get you guys onto a schedule, like new babies. Like new babies, you want to get them onto a schedule because if you can get them onto a schedule, does that make everybody's life a lot easier? So I'm trying to do that with you guys. I'm not saying you guys are colicky or anything like that. I'm just, saying. Anyways, let's dive in because we got a lot to go over today. Nora, what you got?
I had like 20% for last week.
Nice. And is there you anything else you want to cover?
Not right now.
Okay. So, you forgot two things over the weekend. Do you know what those two things are that you forgot?
No.
Kenny and Luke, do either of you know one of the two things that she forgot?
Graphs.
Graphs. Nice, Kenny. Excellent. So are you guys pushing each other? Or are you guys just all sloppy students and you just like, I'm not going to tell on you. I'm not going to push you. If you guys have that kind of agreement, like I won't push you if you won't push me, I won't call you out if you don't call me out. Have you guys decided to do that? Because it's kind of what it seems like you guys have decided to do. Okay. I mean,
Only
Top
to an
Gun,
extent.
right. Top Gun. Ooh, yeah, this is really high end training. I'm not going to push you. You don't push me. Doesn't sound like it's like Logan. Or it's like, you know, toilet paper, boot camp training. I don't know. Like, it's just like, are you guys like, I don't know. I mean, yeah. Anyways, we'll keep going. Oh, the other thing. So one was the graphs, and the other was the plan
PPA?
for what's that?
The Life GPS PPA?
I
No,
don't think
I'm
so.
doing that.
Yeah, I don't think that. So it's the Sean's action vision plan. So those are the two things that are open loops. Kenny, what you got?
Um, how to help Luke get up to speed faster.
So er, I've been trying to figure that out for decades, and uh, and I like I have not done a good like I haven't figured it out, and so here's the rapid learning model. If you say does it work, it doesn't seem to work. So why are you showing us then, Mark, if it doesn't seem to work? So this was done 26 years ago. And so, learnability model, you make me feel stupid. People say that quite frequently to me. Um, People are really saying, I don't want to see the truth. Why people like to be stupid. And so avoid doing more work. Root is laziness. Avoid taking responsibility. The root is a lack of discipline. Avoid people having high expectation of them. Root is laziness. They can't do it perfectly, so they won't do it at all. Root is pride. So it seems like that, it seems like that 2% of the population, and that might be optimistic. So it's see, don't see, don't see, don't see. So the head, the heart, hands helping other people. Hope, head, heart, hands helping other people, the five H's. So 2% of the people produce 70%. Let's say, I don't know if these numbers are accurate, but this is my intuition instinct. 2% of the people produce 70% of the results. 18% of the people produce 25% of the results. 33% of the people produce 5% of results, and 45% of the people actually, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they are. They're like rocks. And then 2% of the people actually negative produce 200%. The 2%, they're self aware and they see, they listen, they do. So they will bring success and jobs to themselves and other people. They're going to help tens, hundreds, thousands, millions, billions of people. So, anyways, then there's another group of people. These are 18% of the people, and they carry their own weight and help some other people. They're not like the 2% produce crazy, insane amounts, but they're not bad. They're not self-aware, but they're aware through others. They actually listen to other people. They can't see; they're like blind, but they can't see. But but at least there's some people that are blind, and so on Friday when I was doing the pickleball with Courtney and my wife, so we were playing doubles, and I hit a shot, and Courtney looked at me, and I said, so it was Roseanne and I playing against Courtney, and I hit a shot, and she looked at me, and I said, "Did you have something you wanted to share?" She says, Did you want to hear? Did you want me to say something?" I'm like, "Yeah." So she told me, and then I'm like, so we're playing while we're talking, and she's on the other side, and I said, "So did I do something that would indicate to you that I don't want feedback?" And she kind of looked at me and laughed, and she said, "No, but sometimes people don't want to. Sometimes they want to figure stuff out on their own. To me, that's just stupid." And so what she's really saying is men probably don't want to learn from a young girl or young lady, so she's thinking, well, Mark's just like Norm. No, Mark's not like you have never coached somebody like Mark before. You just haven't. So it's awareness through other people. Like if I can't see, I'm going to listen to somebody else. So they are aware through others. They don't see. They listen to see and then understand. That's significant. And then they do. They'll keep their jobs, will personally succeed. How do you move up one level? Study those who are at level one to be self aware. And then number three is they aren't aware. They don't see. They don't listen. But they may think they listen, and they may do. They struggle to keep their jobs and probably will not succeed. Study those who are listening to others, level two, develop personal life vision, develop fire in the belly, have more passion, start to get a life, right? But they're weak. I think some might call it their weekend life. I don't know. So a weekend life, so that's good. With a whole bunch of other people who don't have a life. I don't know. I've never experienced this before. So then you have number four people. They're unaware. They don't see, don't listen, will not do. They will not keep their jobs, almost guaranteed will not succeed, and will cause others to not succeed as well. Study those. The strategy is study those who are listening to others, level two, develop personal life vision, develop fire in the belly, have more passion, start to get a life, take personal ownership, learn 12 principles to Life Masteries Institute and the 10 rules to the game. And then you just have, I don't know, the 2% that are just bad. They're just bad people. I don't know. They'll make poor choices, very poor choices, and will hurt others. Gain some hope in life and desire to win. I would add this again. This was 26 years ago. Like Luke and Kenny weren't even born yet. Oh, by the way, Luke, happy birthday, belated birthday. Sorry about that. That I'm glad you have a great birthday. That's really awesome, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then there's maturity rating, and then there's normal patterns for learning. And so there's hope and there's pride, teachability, effort, work, knowledge, results, why we don't do something, not a high enough priority in the business, signs of pridefulness, someone who is unteachable. Again, 26 years ago. They will not think of themselves as being unteachable. Number one thing. Won't see things, poor listening, closed-minded, stubborn, won't try new things, try to find support from others, past experiences, data to support one's own opinion rather than trying new things, defensiveness, will say sorry but won't change. They will seek to get others to think they think and won't listen. They will say, you're the one who isn't teachable rather than owning it themselves. 26 years ago, like, will give many reasons for why they're unable to accomplish what they need to be done, i.e., have so much on my plate, you don't understand. And then here's the advanced pattern for, learnability. Foundation, motivation, desire, growth, reinforcement model, advanced self-motivation, intermediate, beginning. So, I think, Kenny, either Luke, like, remember, Kenny, when you went ahead and when like the first year we knew each other, I think it was the first year, and you'd call me up and say, hey, Mark, can I come over to your house? Remember that, Kenny?
Huh?
That was the good old days. So Kenny just called me up. He said, hey, can I come over to your house? I'm like, sure. Like, why? And I just want to come over. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Is there something you want me to do? Nope, just come over. Okay, so you're just going to come over and sit at the kitchen table while I work? Yep. Okay, I'm fine with that. Why? And it's like, I don't know. There's something, just being around you is productive. When I'm around you, I'm just productive. Okay, cool. Oh, here's the 4 levels of learning. So unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, unconscious competence, the pull shot, the next thing. So I think you all need to have a bigger life vision. I think you all need a bigger life vision. I think that, if Luke doesn't, like, he's got to have more self-discipline. Like another one of our clients, Paul, it's so cool. He used to, he used to be maybe a little prideful, maybe a little bit of an attitude with me. Like, but then he got to teaching. Then he got to where he had to develop people. And he emailed me, he's like so and so, they're not learning. They're not learning. They're not learning. And I'm having to tell them over and over again. And, so I don't know, Kenny, go after, Luke's weekend life. That's probably one of the biggest motivators for him. Would you agree with that, Luke?
I could see that. I think so. Yeah.
So what's better than Kenny going after that?
Myself going after that.
Yeah, that's what we call self-discipline. like, it's baffling to me. It's baffling to me how adults are like children and they want the best of all worlds. And so they want to be treated like adults, but they don't want to act like adults. And it's like, jeepers, I don't even know what to do with that. And so the goal, I love hanging around all 3 of you guys. I do. I really do. But the goal is not to have to be around you to be productive. The goal is not to go ahead and have to have you around me to be productive. That's not the goal. Like, I've got a father's heart. And, like I say to people, I say, do you know why dads don't mind? And this is a good question. Do you know why dads don't mind when their kids leave the home, but moms do?
Because dads have to put up with their stuff.
Yeah. Moms get so much of the benefit, and oh, you're such a great mom, and dad has to do like he has to put up with everything, and mom, she gets so Rosanna with all the kids, she cried when they left the house. Me, I didn't cry. And Ben, our 27-year-old son, said to our youngest son, he's like, yeah, when I left the home, when I left the home, dad and I's relationship got a lot better. Yeah, because you know what? You're an adult. You're going to crash, and man, it hurts, but you're going to learn. Like not all the kids, but most of the kids, it's like you think you're so smart, and you think all your issues are because of your dad. And I hope you're right. I really do, because if you're right, if you're right, and I'm wrong, well, you're going to have a great life. I mean, you're going to have a great life because, man, after you leave the home and you get out from underneath my authority, you're going to go ahead and have a great life. And you know what? It didn't work like that. Their lives got worse because obviously I didn't do a good effective job of teaching them. And so I don't want I don't want people to have to be around me to be productive. That's kind of stupid. And I don't want to, let's say, go to church. Like if I'm not there, yeah, you guys don't go. Like you guys, like adults, what they do is they do things that they might not like doing. That's what being an adult is. They call it adulting. My youngest son, I think, is the one that introduced me to the concept of adulting. I'm like, what's adulting? But again, I was born into this world as an adult, according to my children. And there's a lot of truth to that. My parents, they trained us to be very independent. Don't need anybody. My mom said, I don't know if that's good or not. So if Luke doesn't discipline himself, Kenny, if Luke doesn't discipline himself, then you have to help him develop self-discipline. You give up, the life weekend.
Got it.
Yeah. He's got to have pain. He's got to be able to invoke self-discipline. He has to. Luke, what you got?
So I'm bidding two roofs for a property wholesaler, and they have 100 plus, I mean, a lot of properties. And so my competition is way lower than I am.
So the first
But
question I have, does anybody
go
know
ahead.
what the first question that I have for Luke?
How much lower?
No. But that's a great question. What percentage lower? Do you know
Not
what
sure of.
you got to know the percentage lower? It's more important to know the percentage lower than the dollar amount lower. You got to know the percentages because you guys know because you listen in that area. You listen. And so in that area, you listen well. And so you know your percentages. And so if you're going below a percentage, who's going to take the cut? In the RV factories, who takes the cut? It's shared mutually. It's shared mutually. And so the people on the line, when they do smaller, less profitable units, they take a cut in their pay. And what do most of them, what do most of the, people on the line when they go ahead and, they make less money, what do they do?
Let me go somewhere else.
They can try to go, yeah, they might go somewhere else. Good. What else?
Do they whine about it?
They do. They whine, they grumble, they're unthankful. Except there's a few that don't. there's a few that say, I still make a whole lot of money. I don't have a college degree. I, you know, like I didn't invest 4 years or 5 or 6 years of my life into figuring out mentally how I can do something. So I have a, high school, a diploma. So well, I don't have that even, which again is not bad. It's just, it just is. So there's one young man out there that goes ahead and like he's thankful. He's like, I still make a lot of money. Like even when I'm not making as much money. So he's thankful, he's grateful. And so that provides a huge opportunity for Nora. Nora could make millions and millions of dollars on that. Anyways, so Luke, so you need to know the percentage. The other thing is how do you know what they're coming in at, Luke?
They've done multiple roofs with this client or for this client, and then he just told me what they give for
So
the
what percentage chance are you? What percentage chance are you? Like, how confident 1 to 10 that you're actually being told the truth?
That's what I don't know.
Yeah.
Is
And that's the first question you got to know, because people lie to you or people tell partial truths, So,
Maybe for one roof they did
right,
that price.
right, right.
But
And
I
that's a technique that you use. Like in printing, that's a technique that you use, because in printing for businesses, what do they base your printing decision on? Business cards. So they go and find, it's called a loss leader. They go and they price their business cards lower, and they think all their other printing is lower too. Often their other printing costs more than their business card. Like if you want to buy milk, where do you buy milk? Typically at a convenience store. So did you know that often convenience stores sell milk below what they pay? Every gallon of milk that they go ahead and sell, they lose money on. That doesn't seem like a very smart strategy, but it is. It's called a loss leader. So there's my college, part of my college degree. Like, hey, it's actually, there's a lot that Mark knows from his college degree. And you guys could go ahead and write those things down. Like anytime I meet somebody that has a college degree, like a master's or a doctorate, I say, what's the number one thing you learn? They spent a lot of money getting that master's degree or doctorate. So I'm going to learn something from it. They're willing to give it up. Like they'd put all this time and money in. So what's the number one thing that you learn? And I ask them, because then I can go ahead and don't have to do much of any work, don't have to pay a dime, and they'll teach me. So people will lie to you, deceive you. There's so many shenanigans. There's so much stuff in business that's like, this is what I hate about business. But it's the reality of business. It's the reality of business. So business is brutal. Here's a good story. I'm 18 years old. And my brother, my parents told us that we had to go to 1 year of Bible college. So Faith Baptist Bible College. And so in part in honor to my parents, and partly honor to my parents, and partly because I'm like, I want to get married. So where's a good place to find a wife? I don't know. I thought a Bible college, a bunch of Christian women, a bunch of women that have the same values that I do. So I'm like, okay, I'll go and, honor my parents and do 1 year Bible college. We had to pay for it. And so I go there, and my brother, he started a pop business. And so he sold pop out of his dorm room. I'm like, that's a good way to make money. So I did too, but I took it to another whole level. I mean, I sold everything. I mean, it was like a massive enterprise. The amount of money and what I was doing, I was moving so much, So what I'd do is I'd go buy in bulk, and then I'd sell individually. And so it was on an honor system, And I mean, it was crazy how much, it was just 18 years old. and so so then, and I'm, so it's an honor system, you can get stuff. And then, and I did inventory, 18 years old. I hadn't had any college education in business, but a lot of business is common sense. So you don't need a college degree, but it doesn't hurt. Well, maybe it does. It hurts some people because they think they're smart. And so this is a Bible college, Faith Baptist Bible College in Ankeny, Iowa. And I found out when I did inventory, people were stealing from me. Like, what? Like, who's going to a Bible college? It's pastors and missionaries. So many of these people that were going to Bible college, they were studying to be pastors and missionaries. And they're stealing from me. And, what did I do? I whined. My resident advisor, he was, so normally there's 4 guys in a dorm, 2 rooms, and there's 2 guys in each room, but he was a resident advisor. So there are only 2 people rather than 4. And I had the main area. He had the back room. And he's like, Mark, I'm tired of your whining. It's a cost of doing business. If you can't handle the cost, then get out of business. I learned that in Bible college at 18 years old. They didn't teach me that. They did not teach me that in business. My finance and marketing and management degree, they didn't teach me. So if pastors and missionaries are going to steal from you, pretty much anybody could. So what did I do? Stop whining. And I wrote a sign. And I said, so as soon as you stop whining, then you go ahead and you say, so I wrote a sign out and I said, did you come to Bible college to study to be a pastor or missionary and steal from me? It worked. Somehow the conviction, the theft stopped. I'm like, dang, this is awesome. Until somebody tore down the sign. And the theft started occurring again. So it's funny, this guy went on to be a photographer and work for some Christian organization. Now that I look back on it, it's like, dude, really? You're going to tell me I'm like, wouldn't you, like, is this not, do you not see the importance of this? And it's so hilarious that when I go to churches and pastors, I tell that story and the pastors laugh. Why? Because they know it. Like corruption, it's insane. Like, it's just, my dad was a pastor. I have uncles that are pastors. My youngest brother was a pastor. They get up on Sunday and they say, doesn't mean you shouldn't go to church. Go to some type of church. My gracious. Anyways, so I had a monopoly. Like there was nobody else in the dorm or any of the other dorms selling. And I got so successful that I started 2 sub stores over in the girls' dorms. So there were guys' dorms because Bible college. So guys' dorms, girls' dorms, you can't go into each other's dorms. And so one of them was my future wife, Rosanna. So I knew ahead of time what I was getting into. Like I go to drop off all the inventory, pick it all up, pick it up and, drop off the old. So I deliver everything. They get a percentage. I get a percentage. And I go to collect the money. And what does she tell me? Well, there's no money. I'm like, what do you mean there's no money? She's like, there's no money. What happened to my money? And she was a close friend. Like she and I were so close. We were like brother, sister. It was pretty crazy. Another story for another time. And I'm like, what do you mean there's no money? What happened to the money, girl? She's like, well, like the girls in the dorm wanted to go ahead and have a pizza party. I'm like, okay. Well, we needed money. Okay. So we used the money from the business. You can't use my money to go ahead and fund yours. So that taught me a lot about women. These are future pastors and missionary wives. Like, they're taking my money for their enjoyment. Well, that's perfect for the wife of a pastor. That's what you're training them to do. It's like, jeepers. I'm like, you got to be kidding. So I can't say, hey, didn't know that was going to happen in my marriage. So anyways, there are some guys on the upstairs dorm. This is so cool. There are some guys in the upstairs dorm, and they thought I was charging too much. Really? So they got some pop and they started, but they didn't have the distribution. They didn't have the firepower. They didn't have any of the systems that I had. And so they started charging less than me. So what happened then?
I had to go and bought theirs and sold it.
Nora probably heard this story before. Oh, it's boring. I've heard this story before. So there's this price war. They lower their price. I lower my price. They lower their price. And finals week is coming up when you sell a lot of stuff, like a lot of caffeine. So I knew, hey, and they're killing my profits. So I'm like, okay, what can I do to go ahead? What can I do to go ahead and do that? Although I think Nora knew that answer to that story even before I told her that. She's brutal in business. But she's raised Amish, so I think they teach you that kind of stuff. Like year 3, of the caring. Anyways, so I had all my friends go upstairs, and we brought it down where the price was at or below what we paid for it. And we'd buy it when it was on sale, and there were no sales going on. So I went ahead and had my friends go up and buy out all their inventory. Decimated them. So they didn't have any inventory. Brought all their pop down, took all their inventory, brought it down to mine, and they went out of business. Put them out of business. That's the benefit of going to a Bible college for a year. Man, do you learn business is brutal, especially among Christians. Like, dang. Like, jeepers. So there's one more story, and I didn't even get to everything that I wanted to get to. Ugh. So Luke, you got to know, you got to figure it out. You got to think through that. And the other thing is, they could be more productive. They could be charging less than you, but if your standards are in the industry, or they could be making less money. So they have people on the bench and they're dropping their prices like I did, dropping the prices to drive you out of business. I mean, it could be a whole bunch of different things. Don't be lazy mentally, Luke. Like, you go ahead and say, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this. Kenny, he went ahead, like their first bid was that. That's what the guy locked in. He goes ahead and gets you to go ahead and lower your price. Everybody's gaming the system. Because the consumer doesn't really care. It's a commodity.
What if I was talking to this, I think it was this guy on last week. Like, what if we'd collude with the other competition and increase the pricing? It's like, there's no way.
Yeah. So
money.
You would never do that. Kenny would never do that. We're just brainstorming. There's no bad ideas, but there are some that are illegal. And so that's an illegal idea. So you can't do that. You can't go ahead and collude with others to go ahead and set prices. If you go ahead and, get together over coffee and have conversations, that's done all the time in business.
Gotcha.
And so one of the things that's really rough in business, and I was telling one of our Amish clients this the other day, is that, the Amish, what they do is they're not like the English. They actually, not all of them all the time, but many of them are very conscientious about charging too much. Is it because they're such godly, good people? No, it's because they don't want their, I'm sure there's some of those, but no, they don't want to be looked down on in the community. So what you have is they keep prices down. They don't know what their prices are. So they end up working 70, 80 hours a week and not making a lot of money. And, And does anybody care about that? Does the community care for people that are in business working 70, 80, 90 hours a week and still struggling?
No.
No. Does the wife care about her husband putting in those kind of hours?
Sometimes.
Yeah, it depends, right? Sometimes she does because she wants help with the kids. The kids are a handful. Like, come on. Like, so the husband, he doesn't mind it because he got bratty kids. like, but the wife, she's tired of it. She might like it for a few years, like she wants to be around him, but over time, no, she gets bored with him. He gets bored with her. She does her stuff. He does his stuff. And so, they don't really like each other. So I'm sure that doesn't happen in the Amish. So, so, um, so yeah, so you got, if you're in an industry where, I don't know, everybody's stupid or ignorant, everybody's ignorant or stupid, you got to raise up everybody. And the challenge is in northern Indiana, everybody knows, like at 2 years old, you're out, mowing the lawn and this big old, you can barely hold on to the thing. And then at 3, you're starting to do roofing. like everybody, when you compete in an industry where if they're not working in the factory, they can do roofing, it's hard because you're a commodity and it's based on price. But some don't do that. Nora talked to somebody that, roofing company, and I don't think he's working 80 hours a week. And I don't think, and he's making a lot of money. So somehow he's figured out how to crack the code. So there's a whole bunch of things that I know we've gone over, apologize for that.
One more thing, like for this situation, I think we have an edge over our competition with our servicing. As far as if he would give us the job, then he wouldn't have to worry about it, do anything with it. And
That's
he
huge.
manages, what was
That's
that?
huge. So the
Like,
reason the lowest priced all the time, we're fairly priced. Sometimes we're higher, sometimes we're lower. But the reason that we, if we're higher, you get what you pay for. You just do. And so our service. Now the key is, if somebody says you're the highest price and you're the worst quality, you got an issue. Now the person might be lying to you. So it's always good to consider what people are saying. But
like what I don't know is how relentless am I with that?
well, that's the thing. There's a saying in sales, and I don't like the saying, but buyers are liars. So people that are buying your products and services, they'll lie to you. Oh, I can get a better price over here. Oh, this does this and this and this. And so, yeah. Questions?
I don't think so.
All right. Anybody else have anything else? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a short, I don't know, 3-minute, 5-minute bonus. But if you guys need to take off, you can. So thank you. Appreciate it. So here's a trick that I learned in college too. So 90% of my college, my 3 degrees, I wrote down what's the 10 most important things that I learned from my 3 business degrees in college. 9 out of 10 of those were not on the syllabus. The syllabus is when you go into a class in college, they tell you what you're going to learn. They tell you everything. And so they don't prepare you well for owning your own company because nobody gives you a syllabus. They're training you to be an employee. Colleges are training everybody to be employees, not to be business owners. And so 90% of what I learned, of the most significant things I learned in college, was never on a syllabus, was never planned. I was learning things they were not trying to teach me. It's a different kind of student. So I got my, went to 1 year Bible college, and I went to 2 years of community college, and got my associate's degree. And then I went to 3 years of business college at Northern Illinois University. So one of the top, one of the top 4 or 5 accounting colleges in the country. I mean, just so a very, very good business school. And so I went there, and I had my first mass lecture, which was like 300, 400, 500 people in the class. So you got no individual attention. Now, my 2-year degree, I got, I'd gotten engaged, and I wasn't the most serious student, but when I got engaged, then all of a sudden I got really serious, like really serious about like, I'm going to get good grades. And so I was pretty much maybe a B or C student. Didn't fail a lot of classes, got a few D's, but it's pretty much average or below average. But when I went ahead and when I went to community college, I got A's and B's, except there were 2 C's I think I got, but everything else was A's and B's. So I went to a higher level, in part because I loved what I was, studying business. And then I was getting married. I was either engaged or got married. And so I was really serious. I'm like, hey, I got to buckle down, and I got to provide for a wife and children. And so I really applied myself and did really, really good. But they were small classes at the community college. When I went to the big college, the 4-year college, when I went there, I was in a class, my first mass lecture class, because I got such great grades when I was a freshman and sophomore in college. I was in an honors program. So that's for smart people. I'd never been in a smart people's group before. Not like Alvin Miller, Mensa, not anything at that level. But I was I was put in. It was fascinating when I went to the 4-year college on all the smart people, they got special privileges. And because I was in that group, I was a smart person. So you had special study hall, special other things, everything was special. And I'm like, well, that kind of is interesting. Why would you give the smart people special? Wouldn't the dumb people like me, somehow I snuck into that group of being a smart person. So I went ahead and I took a test. To get in. So I was planning on being an accountant, a CPA. My oldest brother, he was going that path, and I wanted to go that path because I wanted to own my own company. And the community college I went to, I found out after 2 years that people who went to the 4-year college did not do good. Like, they had low rates. And so the community college was a really good college, but not in the accounting area. And so I found out most people. So I quit a job. I was married. I quit a job. I studied like crazy. I mean, it was great. And I worked 4 years. So 2 years in high school, 2 years in my college, my first 2 years. And I had everything planned out. I was going to graduate. I was going to be a CPA, and I was going to start my own, accounting practice, my own accounting business. And so the big day came, and I took the test, and I didn't pass, which means I couldn't become I couldn't go into that college. I couldn't go into the accounting college. There are different segments of it. So I couldn't go into that. So my dream of 4-year had just been birthed. I couldn't retake the test. So naturally, I'm it's a pretty big hit. And my wife and I are married now for, I don't know, a year or so. She's the first one in her family that ever graduated from high school. Nobody else ever had. Her parents on both sides, nobody had graduated from high school ever. And so she's the first one that, was going to go to college. And so her parents were really looking forward to, they're all proud that their daughter was going to college, and they were all proud that they were going to have a son-in-law that was going to be a CPA. And so I let them down. And then there was an adopted grandmother. Her daughter went to Northern Illinois University and became a CPA. So she was kind of my mentor. My parents really didn't help much, but she went down to college days and helped me figure it out and everything. And so I let her down. And then obviously I let my wife down. And, I don't know. I saw some cracks in the foundation when I went into cost accounting. I mean, I could have a whole podcast just on this, but I'm going to try to tighten it up here. So then I went for my finance degree. So I couldn't go into the accounting because I didn't pass a test. So I went for the finance degree, and I was taking one of the core electives class. And I had to get a C or better on it. And I was going into the final with a D. I couldn't get the stupid stuff. Like, I don't know, my brain just didn't work. I couldn't get it. I don't know why. And I worked like crazy. And because I was in the special honors program, I got special access to the instructor. Most of the 300, 400, 500 people didn't, but I got access to him. And, I said, hey, I'm really struggling here. Like, I'm really struggling. And I got blown out of the accounting. So there's hierarchy. Accounting was the top in business. And then after that was finance. And then after that was marketing. And after that was management. So that was the hierarchy. And I said, I don't really want to get blown out. And I was trying, I'm working hard. I just can't get it. And he said to me, what are you doing this holiday weekend? I said, I'm working, I'm studying, I'm working on your class. And so the final exam was worth 70% of the grade. And I had studied so hard, I just could not. It's weird on how my brain just didn't work. And he said, well, go to my RA, resident advisor, or TA, teacher's assistant, go to them and get the final from last year. I'm like, okay. Now he had told everybody in the class that they could get the exam from the library, or these like there were 3 and then a final exam. So he told everybody in the class, go to the library, get the exam from last year so you can study last year's exam. I had done that and it never worked. It was just stupid. Like studied it. So when he told me that, I'm like, well, it hasn't worked for 3. It hasn't worked for the last 3 quizzes. So you get this attitude, it didn't work before, so it's not going to work again. But then I said, well, wait a minute, Mark. This one was different, slightly different. It was slightly different because he didn't tell everybody, he just told me. And so I studied it over the holiday weekend, came in. I aced the test. I got a B. I went into the final getting a D. I got a B in that class. It was insane. Why? Because I worked my tail off. Why? Because I took initiative. Why? Because I was humble. Why? Because, there's like I'm studying the people and situations and trying to figure out, like, I'm not a smart guy, and I know that. So I have to work harder. I have to pay attention a lot more than other people do to things. And one of the things that's fascinating about this is that, like, there were 10 questions. So if you miss one question, you go to a 90. You miss 2, you go to a 80. Like, there weren't a lot, you couldn't make a lot of mistakes. And so I think I got 100% on the final. So it brought up my grade. But he always had on one of his tests, because it was mass lecture and they didn't take assignments. So people, what they do is try to game the system. And they'd have all their friends, they'd have a friend go to it and take notes and everything and then leave, so they didn't have to attend class. So what he did is he told jokes in the class. Well, obviously nobody went ahead and took notes and repeated the joke. But on the quiz or on the test, he would have something about the joke. So it's his way of taking attendance. And I thought, now that's interesting. So when I got out of college and promoted really fast, went from, you guys know the story there, went from 100% straight commission position, making $1 an hour, then promoted to a regional manager, but still doing commission, then marketing manager, then VP of sales, at like 25, 26, and on track to make $460,000 a year at 27, 28. And what I did is I built a system, a recruiting system that some of the top, I'm 26, 27. What do I know about anything? Not that smart. And I knew that. And these, Citibank and Northern Trust came into the company and they wanted to see how we train people. And they told the president of the company, Tony Davis, they said, we've never seen, there's nobody in the country that's training your salespeople like you guys are. So what I did is I had quizzes, and then I had a final exam that was 10 to 12 hours long. It was brutal. I mean, absolutely brutal. And so what happened is the graduates, they were there from previous. So you guys were the first ones going through, this course. I need to go ahead and make it painful for you guys so you guys can tell the new people going through it's brutal. Like, I don't know, do we have, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4? Like the first 3 months you have an exam, and if you don't make it through that exam, you don't go to level 2. You don't go to level 3. I don't know. Like, we're building a product, a service that's going to transform people's lives. But you got to fear it. You got to fear the quizzes. The reason the quizzes and tests are so powerful is it makes the student pay attention to the details. So what you guys don't understand is because you're young. You guys don't understand the significance of what you're learning here. You don't understand that, what you're learning here is not only going to make you a boatload of money, but it's the difference between having, a great marriage versus a good marriage, or maybe a marriage that fails. I don't know. It's the difference between having lifelong friends and not. It's the difference between having friends that take advantage of you. You use them, they use you, and you're all pathetic. It's an FOS. It's the difference between maybe, your children living and not. Seriously. Or maybe the difference between your life and not. Like, we don't know. So I just seek to take everything serious. Like, everything's significant. Like, everything in life is significant if we want to make it significant. But that takes work. It takes a lot of work. And how do we take 62 years of my experience and over 40 years in sales, and how do we condense it down to give you guys not just like the money? Like, there's going to be people in here that go through this course that will make millions. I mean, millions and millions. It's crazy. But the money will destroy you. It can destroy a marriage. It can destroy you. It's unbelievable what it can do. So thanks for sticking around for the bonus session today. Luke, definitely, let, David, Adam know that this is a 5-star. I don't know how else you go ahead and, so we try to keep it right at a half an hour. We're pretty good at that, but this one went longer. And so you and I, we only go ahead and get one life. So make it significant. Make every moment significant. And then Luke, if you could let, David and Adam know. Also, Mark Boersma for Dummies. there's 21 podcasts that are breaking down that 2.5 minute. And Nora's on the live session on those. And so people are quick to judge things they don't understand. And they're actually, it's weird on how they go ahead and they project like this person's evil, this person's wrong, this person's selfish, this person's this. And they're not taught that you're just looking in the mirror. So hopefully this has been helpful. Definitely you go through like Kenny, Luke, and Nora are going through together. You want to go through as a group. You want to forge a bond like you do in special ops, like a lifelong bond where you guys will remember this forever. And wherever your paths go, whatever season of life it is, you guys go through adversity, you go through hard times. There's tears and joy, and there's laughter, and there's fun, and there's hurt, and there's all kinds of stuff. You guys need to be pushing each other. You're not. I'm not going to push you. You're adults, right? So you guys push yourselves. See, great salespeople, once you get to a certain level, once you're making a certain level of money, you don't have any competition anymore. You're so far beyond the competition. And when you're beyond competition, you often stop growing because you compare yourself to yourself and you look really good. So there's 3 things I look for in a salesperson. So competitive, the ability in salespeople, straight commission salespeople, or even non-straight commission, just salespeople, the ability to last 6 months, a year, whatever it takes, on very little income. The second is hunger, and the third is competitiveness. Those are the 3 things I look for in a salesperson. The ability to last on 6 months, a year on low income. So even though I was married, even though my wife wasn't working outside the home, even though she was pregnant, so all of those things, even though we bought a house, we were running lean and mean financially because it's one of the greatest gifts my parents taught us is how, and the president of the company, Tony Davis, he said, "You're different than everybody else here in the company." I said, "Really? Why is this?" And this is like 25 years old. And I said, "Why is that?" He says, "You not only know how to make a boatload of money, Mark, but you know how not to spend it." And so So, so we were frugal and we had very low income. And so that gave me the ability to make less money and survive. Hunger is you have to make money. This is why single moms have an advantage over everybody else because they have to do certain things. They don't have somebody else providing for them or their children. So hunger, what it does is it forces you to do things that you don't really enjoy doing. Like enjoy, what does that have to do with it? So ability lasts 6 months on very little income. But hunger, like you have to make money. You have to go ahead and do the things you don't enjoy doing. And then competitiveness kicks in 2 areas. Like, I had 3 job offers, good job offers, company car, more money, security, safety. I'm making $1 an hour. I'm sucking wind. I mean, what's it like to be a husband and a soon-to-be father? You can't even pay for drapes on your windows on your house. It's easy to take the easy route in life. It just is. But the easy route typically it's almost never the best route. Almost never. So competitiveness kicked in and I said, "Mark, you've never failed in anything. You're not gonna start now. You're not gonna start now. I'd rather die in the jungle than live in the zoo." But when you got a wife, she'd rather live, especially with a little baby. They don't like dying or being homeless. And then the other area of competitiveness kicks into play is you're never happy. You're never satisfied. You always want more, not out of greed, not out of pride. You compete against yourself. You absolutely have fire in the belly. There's no amount of success because it's almost like you're built into humble. Like you have no ego. Like you're just the best. You just are way beyond everybody else. And so what you do is you start competing against yourself because nobody else can compete against you. Most people in life never, ever get to that point. Those are the three things that I look for in salespeople. So I hope that you and all future generations in Top Gun have those three things. I think you can learn those three things, and I think to have a significant life, you probably have to have those three things. Thanks for the extra time. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you. Bye.